Welcome to another episode of the Keto Vegan podcast. I'm Rachel, I'm your host. In today's episode, I interviewed Di, who I met through a Facebook group for keto vegans or vegan keto, whatever. And we connected there. She lives in California. Di's been a vegan for about 5-6 years. And then a year ago, just over a year ago, she tried the ketogenic diet. And you'll find out much more about why that is during the episode. She also suffers with bipolar 1, and you'll find out how the ketogenic diet actually makes a difference for people with bipolar. I want to make it clear that this podcast, this episode, is not intended as medical advice. If you are changing your diet or anything like that, and also going vegan keto, then do consult a specialist, a nutritionist, or your GP. You will find out on the episode that Di does that, and the advice that the nutritionist she speaks to gives her. If you enjoy this episode, please share with friends. Please subscribe, leave me comments as well.
No, and that's another wonderful thing about the whole veganism, a reason to do it. And the keto, what am I saying? The keto, because it helps you be healthier when you're older, in so many ways.
Yeah, I know. It's so incredible meeting somebody else in this tiny little community who's keto vegan.
I know.
And because of those Facebook groups that are there, and then that's how we connected, isn't it?
I've only done this for a year. For the vegan keto, I've been a vegan for 5 or 6 years, but there are books out there. Like, I don't know if you've ever heard of this one. It looks backwards, but vegan keto. There's like two main cookbooks. But I know you're really good at making dishes and stuff, and you don't really need this.
That looks good.
Yeah, Liz McDowell. I'll put it on the resources for you. I'll email
that'd
you.
Be great. Thank
I'll
you.
email you my favorite things like you did with Antonia, and so it'll help your viewers.
That's great. That's really good. Okay.
But yeah, it feels longer than a year though, Rachel. I feel like I've been doing this much longer than just a year. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, so let's tell me your story then. Okay. So you've been keto for a year or vegan for a year or vegan for 5 years or keto for 5 years?
Make it into a song. No,
why not? We could.
We could. It could be your new theme song. I've done keto for just over a year, vegan keto. And I've been a vegan for it's like 5 or 6 years now.
Okay, so why did you become a vegan? Let's start with that. So you were your mid-40s when you became a vegan, late 40s?
Right. And I hadn't gone purposely looking for it, even though I live in kind of a mecca. I live in Santa Cruz, California, which is where a lot of vegans live. And in fact, I don't know if you've ever heard of an author named John Robbins. He wrote this best-selling book called Diet for a New America, and he lives here. And that was a huge bestseller, and it turned a lot of people into vegetarians. So John Robbins lives here in Santa Cruz, and some other vegan and vegetarian celebrities. But basically, the reason for the way I became a vegan was I broke my jaw. I was walking with my dog, Lucy, one day, and I tripped over. We were going through a tennis court at the local high school, and there was a tennis net on the ground. And I was looking at my cell phone.
Oh, God.
And I tripped over the damn thing. I'm going to curse because that's what it was, even though it was completely my fault. And I slammed down on the pavement, and I tried to fall, but I fell right on my face on the concrete.
Oh, die.
And my dog didn't really seem to care. I thought she'd be like, she didn't care. But I was able, thank God I did have the cell phone, because I was able to get my husband on the line, and he took me to the ER. So long story short, you're probably wondering, how does this get into the vegan thing?
Oh, right, of course. I forgot about the question.
I will come back to the question. I had a lot of downtime. I was doing the pity party thing, and I was watching Netflix things. And I had remembered, I read in the paper, we have a local paper, and I remembered reading an article about a local producer who was a co-producer on this documentary called What the Health?
Yes.
And I knew about it, but I never had really felt like watching it. And then I just suddenly decided to watch it. And 2 hours later, I was a vegan.
Yeah. Yeah.
I went from total carnivore my whole life, where I grew up, around a massive carnivore father who would cook all kinds of exotic animals in our kitchen,
Yeah.
uh, to being a vegan. And what happened to me was just really similar to your former guests and to you. Uh, just the visual of
Yes.
seeing what truly happens under our noses was just mind blowing and incredibly disturbing. I had my head in the sand, like so many of us,
Mm.
and there was no going back. There was
No.
no going back. I wasn't asking to be a vegan. I always didn't really like the word. I thought it sounded a little bit too like cultish, but
Yes.
I've always loved animals, and I was like this. That was the reason. It wasn't
Okay.
about the health. I really couldn't care less about the health at that time.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So you're married, you've got two daughters. Did you make them follow a plant-based diet as well? Or how was this transition?
Well, in our house, my older daughter, she's always been like a little culinary prodigy, and she'd always make her own foods. And everyone kind of did their own thing, cooking for themselves, which is kind of unusual. I did tell them about it. I didn't say, okay, everybody, you all have to be vegan or vegetarian now. I didn't do that. But little by little, they started kind of wondering what I was doing. They started, like, one of them, my youngest daughter, saw me sobbing because I started watching another documentary.
Oh,
And
which
I have
one?
to be careful. It wasn't Unity. It wasn't that one. It wasn't Cowspiracy either. There's so many of them. I
I
don't even
know.
know
I
what it
know.
was. But she was comforting me. She's always been my little empath. And it was just kind of like osmosis,
Yeah.
they all just started to kind of wonder, and they all decided to be mainly vegan, and it's been great. But there was
Wow.
resistance at first. There
Yeah.
was resistance. I'm not going to pretend there wasn't. And there has been, like, I don't say, okay, you guys can't have any eggs in this house, or I do kind of draw the line at milk, because I'll just say, like, I'll say, hey, you know what's in that milk, right? And I'll go into
Yeah.
detail, and they're like, ew.
I
But
know.
like, when my daughter went to Japan for 6 months, she felt like she had to be able to eat some fish. And I didn't
Yes.
tell her, you can't do that.
No.
So I don't tell other people what to do, but it's been such a wonderful miracle that they have followed the path, more or
Yeah.
less, you know.
That's so good and supportive as well. So
Yeah.
supportive.
Yeah.
So that was your vegan transition, as we've all gone through. But so then tell me, so recently, a year ago, then you went onto a keto diet. So why? Because you look really slender and slim.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
So did you not used to be like that? Did you see the photo of me on my episode 1?
You bet I did. I can't believe I'm talking to the same person. You're
It's
amazing. Oh my God.
I know.
I grew up being kind of skinny, and then I started doing the roller coaster thing. And
Yes.
um, when I was diagnosed with postpartum bipolar when I was 37, and started taking medications and things like that, that
Yeah.
all messed with my weight. But a year ago, I was 50 pounds heavier than I wanted to be. I was 180, and I was feeling like crap. And then perimenopause, this wonderful thing called
Yeah.
perimenopause, came
Yeah.
into my life, right? And I had had a few symptoms, but nothing too bad. But then, I swear to God, one day I woke up and I had this big belly. And it was so weird. I mean, if your whole life, you don't have that, to suddenly have that is weird. And then my clothes weren't fitting, and I just felt unattractive and unhealthy. And then I was complaining to my friend Christine, who is the same age and she was going through the same thing. And you would love her. And she mentioned she was not doing this keto thing. And I had always heard about keto because I'm a former fitness personal trainer, a certified
Okay.
personal trainer, blah, blah, blah. I had heard about it, but I just thought it sounded like another trend, and I was turned off, just like I was
Yeah.
turned off the word vegan. And I just thought, and plus, it had a carnivore emphasis, right? So I was like, no,
So much, doesn't it?
totally. But Christine was losing weight, and I was like, I want to lose weight. So I just did a quick Google search, and not only did it come up that it's possible to do vegan keto, right? Then the total epiphany or miracle happened, I'll call it. I found out that you can use the ketogenic diet for bipolar disorder, not
Wow.
instead of medications, not instead, but in addition to be healthier and be able to deal with the side effects like massive weight gain
Yeah.
or energy levels and things like that. And I was like, what is going on here? So that was the beginning of the researching and experiencing and committing
Yes.
to medical ketogenic, vegan ketogenic diet.
Yeah. Wow.
It's, I'm still learning a ton. It's like, oh, it's a whole field.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you've got another you've got a YouTube episode with another group, haven't you, that I've watched, which was tell me the other YouTube interview that you've done and who those are, because you mentioned MCT oil and I've never used that. So tell me a
Oh,
little bit about the other people that interviewed you, so that, and I'll put a link underneath as well so people can watch that. But
oh,
also tell me a little bit about the MCT oil, because I
oh,
know, I know what I know, but there's lots of stuff I don't know. So
right,
apparently it's
right.
very beneficial. That's what I'm picking up from what you were saying on the
Oh,
episode that you did.
this step, well, I believe me, I'll get into the MCT oil. I did a few weeks ago, I did this podcast called Bipolar Cast, and it's a podcast that is hosted by Dr. Ian Campbell, and he works at the University of Edinburgh. And then the co-host is this young man, Matt Bazuki. And Dr. Campbell, he has been awarded almost a $400,000 fellowship to study how the ketogenic diet helps with bipolar disorder. So
Wow.
he's, his PhD is in like some kind of global health thing, but he also has bipolar disorder, and so does Matt. So both the hosts have bipolar disorder. And Matt had a really severe case of bipolar where he was like homeless for a while. His family, his father created this game called Roblox, which my youngest daughter loves to play. And they are, I'm just going to say it, they're billionaires, okay? And they're the best kind of billionaires to have because they are putting all their money into mental health research,
Yes.
and they're the ones who funded this University of Edinburgh fellowship.
Yeah.
They, they could use it to go like, kick back on an island, right? They could use
Yeah.
their money for other
Couldn't
reasons,
they
but
just?
wonderful. They're wonderful people. So I was on there to talk about a vegan ketogenic diet because they have talked about keto for all other, all other reasons, but not with a vegan emphasis. So, you can do this ketogenic diet with the vegan slant, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm really happy I did that. And it also kind of inspired me to find you. I feel like there was a connection because I discovered you literally a few days after doing that. So the MCT oil is really, really important, especially as a vegan. And I did a consult with this brilliant woman. Her name's Denise Potter. She is a ketogenic nutritionist. And she now has a whole company where she has a bunch of ketogenic nutritionists working under her. But she met with me and there's different, ketogenic diets you can do. And one of them it's called the MCT oil
Okay.
ketogenic diet. It's for epilepsy, but it also translates over to bipolar disorder. And so when I started taking this MCT oil, like I felt like it revved up the ketogenic process, and it does. I mean, that was my intuition, but it actually does. It makes it, if you can take it, and you have to be careful because this stuff is powerful. Like if you take too much, if I took too much, I get stomach aches
Okay.
and stuff. So it's just a little bit goes a long way. You have to build up, but it definitely enhances any kind of ketogenic diet you're doing. You just have to do some research, and
Yeah,
I'll
sure.
put some links
Yeah,
for
thank
you to
you.
share with everyone.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll
I
put
love
those
the
underneath.
taste. I love it. I put it in smoothies. Every morning I put a couple tablespoons in smoothies. And then at night, I eat this wonderful dessert. And it's so simple,
Go
Rachel. Oh
on.
my. And I'm terrible. I'm not like you. You're good at cooking and baking and
All that
quiching.
sort of stuff. Yeah.
That's Antonio, but whatever. I just put together some almond butter, cacao nibs,
Yeah.
some wonderful vegan chocolate protein powder, and what else? And this wonderful nut mix. And I mix it all together with some MCT oil, and it's kind of like, I don't want to say soup. It's kind of like a custard or
Yeah.
mousse. Okay.
Yeah.
I love that stuff and it's so good. And the drawback that I do that I wouldn't recommend your viewers to do necessarily is I kind of have the same thing every day because it
Yes.
works.
Yeah.
I used to be a foodie. I used to watch Chopped and Iron Chef, and I even interviewed my hero at the time, Anthony Bourdain, for an article I was writing. I've grown up loving food of all cultures,
Yeah.
and now I feel like I'm 53 years old. I don't need to go to all these fancy restaurants. I need to put my kid through college, and
Yes.
I'm okay with eating this kind of the same things. And what's weird is I am not binging anymore. I used to binge before I started doing keto. And so now I'm really like authentically hungry when I eat. I'm not starving, but I do
Yeah.
get a little hangry, you know? So
Yeah.
I don't have the exact same thing every day. I have a few different things I rotate. And I was worried when I met with Denise Potter, this nutritionist. I thought she would say that's really bad what you're
Mm.
doing. That's very unhealthy. And she said that was fine.
Oh, great.
As long as I do my B12 as a vegan.
Yes.
But see, like I'm still learning, like I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, like the percentages you need to get of what magnesium, potassium, calcium, and
Yeah.
sodium. But I know you need to I have written down. But it's like, this is like a whole new course of study, to do this.
It is, isn't it?
And and I haven't had like an actual teacher yet. And that's what I learn best if I have someone
Oh,
like you.
okay. I wouldn't, yeah, I'm very slapdash about it. I think because I've been doing it for so long now, right at the beginning, I used the website dietdoctor.com.
Oh yeah,
And
that's a
obviously
great.
that's when I was a meat eater. And so I was using, and they are so good and so clear. So I was using a lot of their recipes,
Mm-hmm,
which I
mm-hmm.
now veganize, but
Okay,
adapt to Rachel's style.
right.
But so because my weight, because I are we on those little keto sticks? Do you do that as well?
No, I haven't. Are those
Ah,
electric? What are
no, well
those?
they're just a bit of a paper strip with a little thing at the bottom, and you just wee on them, and it tells you if you're in ketosis or not. And
Yes,
so
yes.
yeah, so I'm not very particular now about all my levels. I know if I'm feeling, I take my B12, I take omega-3, vegan, and vitamin D as well, even when it's sunny, because we need to apparently. But I'm very relaxed about all of that. And if I start feeling not well, but I don't feel unwell hardly ever. even
Really?
even being a teacher at school with all these children that bring the germs into the classroom, it's like, no, I'm healthy, I'm well, it's all good, I'm happy. And then
Wow,
very
that's great.
rarely, yeah, so I'm not, I don't think about, how much magnesium, etc., and also there's so much put into vegan proteins now. Lots of vegan proteins have B12 put in them as well already, and other minerals and vitamins in. So they are supplementing those.
Gosh, you guys, England is like the best country. You guys are so progressive with veganism that, we need to follow in your footsteps because we have a ways to go. I mean, but one thing I wanted to tell you is I did start out doing those urine strips to see if I was in ketosis.
Yeah.
Because remember, I wanted to do this like for bipolar. I mean, I wanted to do it for weight loss. And when I started losing weight really quickly, and I was totally stunned by that, I really started taking it seriously for bipolar disorder. So I wound up investing in, this was like $45.
Yes.
I haven't been using it regularly the past few months, and I realized that I need to start using it again because it does tell you it's more accurate than the urine
The
strips.
strips.
This is
Yes.
for blood. But see, I'm doing it like, you don't need to do this if you just are doing this for weight loss or general health
Yeah. So
necessarily.
so you haven't said what that is called. What is that?
I'm
Because
sorry.
I've heard about those a lot.
So sorry, Rachel. This is called, I can't do a British accent. Keto Moto GK Plus. It's a blood ketone meter, and it
Yes.
also there's your glucose, which I've never done because I probably should, but I'm just interested in the ketones. It comes in this nifty little bag. I do not work for this company, although they should cut me a check. And then the thing is, you can't do this if you're squeamish about pricking yourself. They give you
No.
these little tricky things. You just
Yes.
pick your finger for a little drop of blood, and then you use one of these strips. Here, I'll show you. Can I show you how I
Oh
do
yeah,
this?
go on then,
How
do it.
exciting. How exciting. And I'll be honest too, again, I was really put off because I bought this and I was naive and I thought when I needed more of these little testing strips, they would be affordable. But they're $40 for a pack. They're just as much as the actual.
No way.
My bank account is not worth it, or my bank account's not so happy. But anyway, so you can also just not test yourself that often. So what you do is you just prick your little finger,
Yeah,
or
up high. If you can move it up higher a little bit, that's it.
right.
Yeah, with the little thing.
I'll show you. According to the video I watched on Keto Mojo's website, they said when you prick your finger, you want to kind of wipe off the first drop of blood.
Oh, okay.
This is great. We're 2 months away from Halloween. We're getting
Excellent.
a head start here. So I don't know if you can see, I'm wiping it
Yes.
off,
Yeah.
wiping it again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
got that. You're bleeding.
And then to quote Alice Cooper's great song, Only Women Bleed. Okay. And then what I'm doing
Excellent.
now is you just touch it at the top,
Yeah.
and then it does a countdown from 9, and it makes it all exciting. I think they deliberately do this to make you hooked.
Excellent.
And then
Excellent.
tell you what your ketone level is. Oh, yay. Okay, well, this isn't ideal for me, but this is 0.7. To be in light ketosis, you want to be 0.5 to 1.5 or something like that. That's light ketosis. It's still good. Just because it's called light doesn't mean it's not very good, but that's for weight loss,
Yeah.
nutritional ketosis. If you have a medical, like a serious medical condition, you want it to be higher, like 3.0 to 5.0. If you have it too high, it's dangerous. So you have to
Yeah,
research this.
yeah, you have to get balance.
And I used to be very strict of 20 or under, and that's hard to do, right? Then I've been told, like, as long as it's under 50 net carbs a day, that's good. But I've noticed when I go over 20, I'm starting to have some of the binging happen at night.
Yeah.
And I want to get back into that for too much longer. The funny thing is I'm only binging on keto, very healthy foods, but it's still not for hunger. It's
No,
stress.
that's right. It's still binging, isn't it? I think it's like very much a mental health issue, that binging. I think I know that I struggle with that so much and always have done. Always have done. It's that comfort, isn't it? And why do we want to put those things in our mouth? And I think that's a whole nother episode, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I was going to get all Freudian. Amazingly, I can't believe this. My weight has not done the, what's it called? The seesaw.
The yo-yo.
Thank you. The yo-yo. It's still staying the same, but and which is great, but
That is good.
I don't feel as good though. So I want to get back into,
yeah.
But it's not easy to go that low with net carbs a day.
No, it is. It's tricky. You have to be very disciplined. So I do lots of batch cooking and just take the pots out of the freezer each day because I live on my own. So it's much easier for me with all of that. Mind you, I used to do that anyway when I didn't live on my own. But then there's a temptation of everybody else's food in the house, especially as you say, especially in the evenings. That was always tricky. But it's living on my own has its benefits. I was going to say it also has its negatives, but I can't think of any at the moment.
Well, hey, I'm going to live with you and you can cook for me. Well, another thing that's a challenge is that I do have a reliance on processed foods.
Yes.
And again, when I met with Denise, I said, oh, I'm not doing, I do have 4 cups of raw spinach a night. I love it. So I do have at least that, but she didn't come down on me for that either, because it's a work in progress, right? None of us are going to be perfect at doing this. But I would like to have more real foods, like processed. By that, I mean like Beyond Burgers or Impossible Burgers. I love them. And I know having that like every day or almost every day is not the greatest.
No.
It doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
But like I said, I've only done this for a year, and like I also love to eat these energy bars. They're low keto bars every day in the afternoon, and those are processed. I could make them.
Yeah.
gonna. Not yet. Maybe someday. I've promised the world I'm going to do it, but I haven't done it yet. So
There's a
so
new company that I've just found called Planted. They're based in Europe. They've got 4 or 5 ingredients in their basic pretend chicken. Only 4 or 5. And water, pea protein, B12 are 3 of those ingredients. And there's just 2 other ingredients. So natural. When I first tasted it, and this is chicken. And it wasn't. It's plant-based food, so simple, hardly processed, called Planted, based in, I'll put a link to that underneath as well.
yeah, I've
But
never heard of it.
I know, but I don't know. So you can order direct from them. They're not in supermarkets over here. They're in one supermarket called Ocado over here, but which is just a shop online thing. It's quite a posh one. And for some reason, I thought that's because I could get the big tub of Hellmann's mayonnaise at a good price. And then I thought, I need to order other things as well. I won't order gin. I'll see what other plant-based foods that I can have. I won't order the gin. No.
I have that. No, I do.
Coffee in California, gin in
but
England. Yeah.
we'll pretend this is in.
So yeah, that I found that was really good. And then I came across another company that was on LinkedIn, called it's the spelling of it is SGAIA. It's based up in Scotland, and they are saying about how they don't want it too processed, but it's not keto. There are too high carbs in their foods, which is such a shame. The Planted one, the website for that is uk.shop.eatplanted.com. But it's all about animal welfare, health. We don't use additives, chemicals, gluten, soy, GMOs, antibiotics, or hormones on their sort of page. Ingredients are water. So I'm just looking at their website: water, pea protein, pea fiber, rapeseed oil, and vitamin B12 in their basic non-chicken one. And the nutritional values for that are: fat is really low fat though, but we can chuck lots of oil on that, 2.9 grams. Carbs, 2.1 per 100 grams. So that's so low.
That's good.
That is so low.
Yeah, that's great.
And fiber is 4.4. Yeah, 4.4 fiber and 24 grams of protein. So it is really good.
It could be less. Sorry to interrupt. I'm so excited though. It could be less than the net carbs, because you're supposed to subtract the fiber. Well, maybe I'll look at the label, but that's good. Whatever you just said is good.
They're really good. And they're not paying me either. Not yet. Come on, Planted. Bit of sponsorship would be lovely.
Well, I was going to say that made me think of something I wanted to share with everybody. I'll write myself a note to do this when I email you later, but it's hard to find people doing this, right? And there's this wonderful free online support group / educational group. It's with Meetup. I don't know if you guys have Meetup.
Yes, meetups. Yeah, we have meetups here.
I will send the link to you. Oh, this one has a mental health angle to it. A lot of people in it have, serious mental illnesses, but it doesn't have to, it could be depression, anxiety, and you don't have to be diagnosed.
Yeah.
But there's a wonderful facilitator who's been trained in keto for mental health. Her name's Donica. You would love her. She's so compassionate and just inspiring and encouraging.
That's so great.
Yeah.
So Di, what is your plan? So you've been keto for a year, vegan for 6, was it? Something like that.
5.
So
yeah.
And I know you also suffer with bipolar disorder. So that must have been a massive struggle, but you're finding the keto diet's actually really beneficial for that. So thank you so much for your vulnerability and your honesty with everything that you've shared with people that we don't know, which is just, I so respect that.
All connected.
Oh, we are so connected.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah. So
maybe we could do another episode. Here, because I feel there's more I want to talk about.
Oh, that would be so good.
Yeah.
So what life lesson would you say that you've learned from all of your journey? So, what is it that sort of touches you most? What have you learned most through all of this?
Gosh, that even though life is always going to be hard, there's going to be bright lights
Yeah.
in people that we meet who will help lift us. People who just come out of nowhere, and they'll help you get through whatever's going on.
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
I'll say
that's
that. I
lovely.
I didn't expect to make two of my three closest friends late in my 40s, but I did, and I'm so thankful for that.
Yeah.
Friendships are everything, and our relationships. So don't get, even if you feel like you don't have any friends right now, don't give up.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you so much. That's lovely. That is really lovely.